Greetings! Yes, it's begun. It has begun. The show he announced 6 weeks ago or something and hasn't started yet. But it's begun. I've even got my own landing page made. Look at that. Look at the graphics. It's got a little video on it and stuff. There's no music yet. I might add some music in post. Look, I want to get this done really quickly. I'm in the mood. I've got a throat infection, so I might buckle sort of part way through this. But I'm in the mood. I want to get it done whilst I'm in the mood. So I haven't got much prepared in the way of fancy graphics and music, but it doesn't matter. Welcome to the Unconstrained show / podcast. I don't know whether there are guidelines that a video needs to fall into and conform to be classed as a podcast, but I'm calling it a podcast because it gives me unconstrained and complete freedom to waffle on to my heart's content. And today's topic is about data IP and data protection, which we will get into. Right, so let's just get the introductions out of the way. I have just recorded for 10 minutes and forgot that I didn't introduce myself because there may be new people coming along and who's this guy? So my name's Neil Cross. I've run this channel called Tech3D, formerly TFI CAD Tips, for about, just over 10 years, knocking on 11. I'm an Autodesk software specialist, mostly specializing in the data management world, but also Inventor and mechanical design sort of 3D CAD world. My channel's been specializing in 3D CAD tutorials, tips, tricks. It's diversified over the years into hardware guidance for engineers. I'm on the Autodesk Expert Elite program, which is like a special snowflake club for those of us who work way too hard on community endeavors. But Autodesk recognize us and give us a nice warm firm pat on the back is recognition for our efforts. Autodesk University speaker. I'm a self-employed Autodesk consultant. I do consultant work for a lot of engineering companies. I used to work in an Autodesk CAD supplier. This is far too long for an introduction. I should just put my LinkedIn page on or something like that. But there you go. That's me. Right. So yeah, look, before we get started, right, in the future, when I'm doing hopefully future episodes of this, I'm going to have like a list of guidelines on what I'm going to do, just so people understand where we're at with this. This show is me having complete freedom to talk as much as I want, because it's something I've struggled with in the past when making videos. They've always been tutorial style videos where you need to just get straight to the point. And whenever you feel like being creative and like giving some advice or like a comical anecdote, people are just like, will you shut up and get to the point? Well, this is just me. I don't care. I'm just going to waffle on as much as I want. So you can like minimize the video, just listen to it in the background. If you think, I can't stand your voice, well, I'll just jog on. That's fine. I'm fine with that. But it's just a show where I don't even have a time limit on it. I'm just going to talk for as long as at this point, as long as I can, until my throat completely packs in. And I should have a drink of water with me. There's the preparation for you. I haven't even got a glass of water or anything with me. And my soda stream bottle's downstairs. That's wait a second. I know what I do. I can pause. And then, as if by magic, he reappears with a bottle of water. Right. What was I saying? The expectations for the show. So it's something I've struggled with in the past on my videos. I'm out of breath. I've just run up and down the stairs. That's hard work for me these days. So my channel in the past has been educational content, right? Tutorials, tips and tricks, that kind of thing. So every video was it was an educational content piece, and everyone could click on the video and with a fair degree of certainty, they know they would leave the video having learned something, right? And over the years, I kind of struggle with that because sometimes you just want to make content for the sake of making content and just be yourself. Do you know what I mean? You just want to be creative. And I always thought, well, I want to make a video about this, but the majority of the audience are probably going to watch it and go, well, what was the point of that? Right? We didn't learn anything from that. Sometimes I just don't want to teach. I just want to be creative. Look at the front page of YouTube. There's probably a video about someone blowing up a house made of jelly, right? Or like throwing giant Mentos into a bath of Coca-Cola or something. Other brands of cola are available. But sometimes you just want to make a video, right? And it doesn't have to be great a point to it. But because I've sort of, my brand has always been learning, right? That's I kind of struggle with that, and it sort of put me off making content. And things had the brakes put on them. So yeah, this show, although there is a point to it, there is a theme. It's not necessarily, I don't want anyone sat behind the screen with like a notepad and a pen, right? I'm ready to learn from this guy, right? It's not like that. It's just a talking piece. Whether it's a podcast or not, I don't know. What I plan on doing in the future, but this long introduction isn't going to be in the future ones. It's the first episode, so I'm just sort of like speaking my mind. Just like maybe people will hold me to this, which is probably for the best. But maybe in the future, if the show does get like enough people watching it, right, then I might do it live. Then I can sort of interact with people and sort of have the show guided by sort of interactive conversation. But it depends how many people watch it. If each show gets like 500 views, but there's a good chance like maybe 3 of them might show up for a live show. I've tried doing lives in fact, I was one of the first ever to do a CAD live event. It's like 7, 8 years ago. And yeah, they didn't really get that many views, right? It's because this is work stuff, right? It's professional stuff. Who goes home and watches YouTube and looks at work stuff, right? Well, I do. Well, if you do, you're in the minority, but the minority is what's sort of built my channel. But it's still a minority, so there's not many people who would want to do that. But we'll see how it goes. So the topic of this show is data IP and data IP and theft, I guess, corporate theft. So there's a sort of dual purpose to this. Like I said in the introductions to who I am, I've been working for a client, a specific client. I don't want to name names and stuff like that, but I'm not going to give anything away about what they do. It's not fair. But I've been working for a client for about 10 plus years. On and off. I've been full-time now. I'm contracted back to them. And just like any other company, they're going through, or they're asking themselves the question, like, how are we protected against data theft? I say we. When I say we, it's because I've worked for them and at them for so long. I often just say we because I am almost part of the furniture. I do work for, if HMRC are watching, I do work for the clients. I'm not a stealth employee. Let's just be clear about that. So when I say we, it's just habit. I have been staff there before. But yeah, we've had ransomware attacks in the past, which have been not too pleasant. But fortunately, that wasn't data theft as such. That was just your typical ransomware attacks, We got through them just down to excellent IT staff and everyone banding together to help out and get through it. But it just all raises questions. What happens if there is data theft, right? How do we stop that? The industry that they're in is very incestuous as well, right? It's the kind of industry where someone could leave the company and go work at a competitor, and 6 months later, you're employing them again. Right? They're just people just come and go from the same companies. As long as they don't burn bridges, then they come and go. People will also leave to start up their own business in the same industry. In fact, I've just last week actually. Was it last week it was a different job last week, but in a few weeks, I'm going to be doing a vault migration for a company which was founded by 2 guys that used to work at this place, 2 or 3 guys, doesn't matter. And they're now doing very, very well. They're almost a competitor to this main client. So yeah, it's that kind of industry, which a lot of industries will be like that. Some aren't, but a lot are. But it does shine a spotlight on data theft when you've got so many people coming and going to competitors, starting up their own businesses. How do you stop them leaving the business with IP and ripping off your products, making them for cheaper, offering them to clients for cheaper, that kind of thing. And another sort of facet to this is this client has a site or an office in a foreign country which, let's just say, has a reputation for acquiring intellectual property through underhanded means. I don't say anything more, but it's just a reputation that they have, right? Fortunately, whilst we operated with an office over there and an office here, there were no instances of that we know of. It's been very amicable. But data IP was sort of thrust into the to the forefront of everyone's attention during that time. And it's, to be honest, it's not just down to paranoia. There are actually laws in the UK stating that you were not actually allowed to export certain types of engineering data to this other country. It's just general export laws, So it was my job to design the system to prevent people in the other country from being able to see files even though they've got full access to the same vault. How do you hide certain bits but let them view other bits and make sure they can still collaborate and stuff? It was a right chew on. Here's what you just do. It was a chew on. Trust me, it was a chew on. Very little is easy in Autodesk. So the Autodesk Vault Professional is the program that I use, that I specialize in anyway. And very few things are simple and straightforward. In fact, I'm firing up this podcast off of the back of trying, right, just something really simple. Really simple, and it's linked in with this. All I wanted to do, right, I've spent the entire morning doing this, and I've had to stop because I'm actually going to smash my face against the keyboard if I carry on. All I want to do is take a folder that has a bunch of files in and hide the folder contents from a named group of users. You'd think that would be pretty easy to do. No, it's not. It's really not. I've been going nuts with this, and I know there's probably someone furiously typing away, all you gotta do is just go onto the folder and apply your folder category, the folder lifecycle. It's really not that simple, mate. It's not that simple. The files have their own life cycles, and the folders override the life cycles. You set it to combine, it's not working out, it's conflicting. I only want the view permission to override the other ones to say this. It should not be this complicated. It's so frustrating. But this is part of the data IP, I guess, theft prevention that I'm trying to do. Just our own thing, the little bits that we can inside the vault to hide things from certain users. Just sensitive data, that you would want to make sure it is only visible to a certain team, perhaps. Because, right, it's one of those things where, if you've got multiple departments working in a company, you don't necessarily want all departments to see all data. In an ideal world, that would be good. But when a company gets to a certain size, right, you kind of do need to separate things off and sort of isolate data per team. But you start coming across issues where, well, you've got shared parts across all these projects. You've got project A over here, which is a big vehicle, and it's got like maybe 10% of it is intellectual property that should be protected, and the rest of it, the other 90%, is just shared parts that are used in millions of other projects. So how do you isolate that 10% without also hiding the other 90%? And there's a whole lot of ifs and buts and depends with this. The vault that I specialize in, the one that I'm working in day in, day out, it's not organized in project folders. It's really difficult to do. Really, really difficult to do. And I've had conversations with people in the past. It's all you need to do is. I can't do that. I can't. I can't do it. It's not where it doesn't work. The way this one's designed, can't do it. Or redesign. It's a 20-year-old vault, right? It's just like 10 million files or something like that in there. You can't just restructure the internal of it. It's just not going to happen. The Autodesk Vault specifically is it's not compatible with. I think it's not a data management program. It's not compatible with processing large data chunks, right? So if you want to move 100,000 files from one folder to another, forget it. It ain't gonna happen. The whole thing will time out and die. So once you get to a certain point, there's only so much you can do. I mean, there's a reason why Vault, it limits the search results to just 1,000 files. In fact, the default's 100. The maximum is 1,000. If you try and do a data transaction of more than 1,000 files, you're in for like a 5 to 10 minute wait. You go up to 100,000, the whole thing just times out and it will die. It's not even going to do it. Mix in with that a whole bunch of potential errors that can be present within those 100,000 files, which Vault doesn't tell you about until it's finished trying to do them all. Then it says there was a problem with file 50,000 out of 100,000, and it doesn't tell you what the file is, what the problem was, and you've waited 3 hours before you got to that point. It's such a delightful product to work with at times. Don't get us wrong, I'm not beating on it, right? It's gave me a career, but at times I just want to throttle the damn thing. It's so infuriating. But when it comes to data protection, one thing I've been sort of thinking to myself over the last week or so is it even... So if you think about what data protection actually is, right? Data theft. It's vision like a bad actor. You bring in a contractor and he's like a double agent, like a spy. He's coming in, he's like, right, I've applied for a role here with the specific intent of stealing 10 drawings that another client has asked for, right? Like take that scenario. Is it even Autodesk's responsibility to fight against that and to provide tools to mitigate against that scenario? Do you know what I mean? That's one of the things that I've been sort of fighting with, because trying to get a program like Autodesk Vault to do this or to help with this, I guess they're the comparable products would be like Windchill, right? You know, I don't know what sort of PDM works maybe. But is it really their responsibility? You know, because data theft isn't just, or it doesn't just extend to what is in the vault. You've also got intellectual property on shared drives, people's inboxes, on your SharePoint site, all over the place, right? And you can't really steal something from Vault unless you pull it out of the Vault onto the local system. And then at that point, it just becomes a file or a document, just like anything else. So is it even on Autodesk? Is it within their scope to do something about that? And that's where I've sort of been fighting with, as I've been trying to like shoehorn Vault into doing that job, right? I've been sort of bending it in ways it shouldn't be bent to try and get it to do this. But then I just got thinking, well, is it even the job of Autodesk to sort of help with that and to fix that? I would actually argue no, it's not. And the reason I say that is because there are many other products out there that are specific. Their only intent, the one reason they exist is for data. I think it's DLP software, data loss and prevention or something like that. Data loss protection. Don't know. But when you've got software that is designed specifically for that, you can kind of forgive Autodesk for just not even giving it a second thought and be like, well, that's not our bag, right? We're a design company, right? Yeah, you can stick your files in our data management product. We call it data management, but right, there's a limit to that, right? Is stopping theft managing your data? Yes, I guess. You know, you have to apply and execute a certain level of management of the files to prevent them from being lost and stolen, but I think there is a limit to that. It's definitely a grey area, and I think there'll be some people out there who would like aggressively argue, no, I've spent £2,000 for his license or $2,000 and I expect it to do X, Y, Z. There'll always be those types, but I think if you're being reasonable, like, I don't think that's their responsibility. So there are tools within Vault that'll help you achieve a certain level of control and access over your data, but to say that I expect Autodesk to give me a complete, unbreakable failsafe of a device to stop someone from stealing data from this Vault. It's, right, because if Autodesk was to sell that as like a feature, then they kind of open themselves up to be liable if data is stolen, right? You know what I mean? So I don't think they want to go there. It's not their bag. But yeah, so that's what I've been trying to do. You know, data comes out of the Vault, then what do you do there? Because once it comes out of a Vault, out of PDMX, Windchill, or Vault Professional, and it hits your laptop, it's just a file like anything else, right? So what do you do with it next? And that's the question I'm kind of posing out to anyone that's watching this, because this client, they often ask themselves, what do other companies do? And they'll be watching this, so I'm sort of speaking to the world and also them. Hi. I don't think they realize that they are actually on the bleeding edge themselves. They are doing a lot of things that a lot of other companies would want to do, but haven't got anywhere close to it yet. Some of the mechanisms that we've got, some of the systems that we've put in, the workflows that are in place, other companies just don't have. And they are the answer to the question that, or the same question that other companies were, how are other companies doing this? Well, they are. But because they're sort of in a bubble, everyone is, right? Every company's in a bubble, right? It's like if you're in Formula One, right? You've got a Formula One team. All they care about is their own team. They don't care about the other teams are doing, or how they're performing. Just focus on your own race. You don't listen to the noise around you. It's just all you're focusing on is yourself. That's all you can do. Can't take your eye off it. So I suppose that's what they do. And it's easy to stop and just think, hang on a minute, well, we've got XYZ problem, right? We need to fix this. How are other companies doing it, right? We don't know. Like, there must be a way. And that's the way people tend to think. So that's where we're coming from with this sort of data theft prevention project. It's like, what are other companies doing? Like, what do you have in place? And feel free, if you are watching this and you've got something in place yourself to mitigate this, just let us know down below, whether that be like a reference to a specific software package that you swear by, something that you've been using for a while and it's worked, it prevented data theft, or maybe you've been using it as just sort of an insurance policy but haven't had to use it yet. What are you doing? If you bring a contractor in and you want to be sure that, you know, they're a week into the job, there's no risk of them just going rogue and downloading or deleting a whole bunch of stuff and sending it out, emailing it out to a Gmail account or whatever, then let us know. Let us know what you've been doing. Because there's always the obvious stuff, you know, disable USB drives and all that, but I mean, come on, right? Disabling USB drives to prevent data theft is like, that's a pretty late 90s, early 2000s solution to a problem. Anyone can get around that these days. You know, you've got cloud, you could disable cloud drives, there's still a way. There's always a way. If someone wants to get data out of a system, you've got Bluetooth, you've got wireless, you've got, right, you know, what's the NFC? Is it NFC? Can you transfer data over NFC? I don't know. But either way, there's millions of wireless protocols that they can send data over. Then you have to start locking all of that down. And before you know it, you've locked things down so much that your regular end users just can't do their work. So there is a limit as to how much you can do. So I'm interested to hear what other people have been doing to get around that. But yeah, I mean, this client is always been asking themselves that, but I think they don't give themselves enough credit as to how good the system is that they've already got. So I just paused the show there because I can hear my cat squealing in the background, and she's decided that she wants to parade. She wants to parade around the microphone and the camera. It's time for attention. It might be time to wrap this up soon as well, because I can feel my voice like slowly deteriorating into nonsense. But yeah, anyway, like I said, if you've got just walking around, making the whole bloody desk shake. How can such a small thing make the desk shake? What's up with you? Pretty Bigfoot. Yeah, if you've got any suggestions that you're actually using, then let me know. I am. This is an ongoing, active project. Like, we are sort of at this point scoping out ideas for solutions to get around. Not really to get around anything as such. Like, nothing's happened. There is no immediate threat. It's just this has been in the pipeline for a while. It's a thing that's needed to be addressed for quite a while. So I'm going to do what I can in Autodesk Vault. And if anyone is out there who uses Autodesk Vault and you've deployed something inside of Vault to help with this, I'd be interested to hear about that. Again, just comment down below is fine. Don't need to contact me direct, just comment down below. I'll read through all the comments as they come in. Just what have you done? Like I said, the only thing is that the vault that I'm managing at this client site is a very unique vault, which again always leads the client to think, well, what are other companies doing? I go, surely, but their vault is set up in a very unique way. Each file that's made is numbered, as you do with a part number, but then it goes into a folder in the vault of the same number. So if the part number is ABCD123456, it goes into a folder ABCD123456, which is then filed under a parent folder ABCD, which is then filed under a parent folder of A, right? It's that kind of thing. It's all filed by part number. So I can't easily just go to a parent folder and say, you're right, hide this project. I can't do that. What I've been looking at this morning is going to the folder ABCD1234 and applying folder permissions to hide that folder from a specific user group, which then overrides the permissions at file, because each file has its own life cycle with very complex permission sets in there. So certain users can view the files a work in progress, certain users can move the files, certain users, when it's released, only this group of users can see it. The second I apply a folder set of permissions, it overwrites those. And I've tried messing about with the combine option for access. It's such a spaghetti mess. It just overrides them, and I need one permission to override the rest of the status. It's so messy. Controlling access and visibility of certain data at file lifecycle level is possible, but there are also complications with that. For example, PDFs getting generated. So I can go to a file in an assembly in a drawing. Let's just say, I wish I had the lid for this because that would be a good assembly and part example. But let's just say I've got this is a part, and it's a restricted part that only one group of users can see. If I put this onto a restricted category so that only a certain group of users can see it, and then a PDF is made of this, the PDF will then, what happens to the PDF? I can't automatically define the category the PDF goes onto based off of the category, or can I? I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But we don't use Vault's built-in PDF mechanism. Yes, you can. We use a third-party PDF creator. Which it's like, well, that's your own fault. Try use it. We can't use it for the Vault one. The Vault PDF creator has weaknesses and inadequacies that are deal breaking for this client. So we have to use a third party one, and I don't know if that can do that. Do you know what I mean? So I would need to make sure a PDF can be made and automatically applied to a restricted category, but then you have to find a trigger somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like if the part is restricted, how does the PDF creator and Vault know that the PDF should then be restricted? It's a mess. It's possibly doable, but every road I've gone down, I always hit a roadblock because of another potential sort of niche kind of little nuance. So I'm curious to hear how other people have done it, even though the majority of things I've come up against or I've thought of had deal-breaking issues with them. I'm annoyed because Autodesk University's next week. This would have been the perfect opportunity to just talk to people about it at Autodesk University. But unfortunately, at this point, I'm not going to say at this point. I mean, it's like, I would have been flying out tomorrow or Sunday. It's Friday today. And yeah, I'm not booked up. I'm not going. Like, I can't justify it, unfortunately. As much as I'm an advocate for the classes that go on at Autodesk University, I love them. I might even do a show at some point, one of these podcasts about the classes. I don't necessarily attend the classes to learn. I've kind of, right, I'm already an expert in my field. I don't really, as much as the classes, there are always useful nuggets of information and insights to get from the classes. I don't go with the specific intent of learning. Do you know what I mean? I go to network and to speak to people, to meet up with because I know so many amazing people within Autodesk and so many amazing customers and people who are in the Expert Lead program. We all meet up and have an absolute good crack on. I always get my ticket paid for by either a sponsor or through the press program. Autodesk got like a press program. So I'm a journalist, really. Or I have been for a few years. I talk about Autodesk news and that sort of stuff. So I'm technically, I get a press pass, but I've just not found the contact at Autodesk this year. I've tried, but my usual contacts moved and been redeployed somewhere else. So I didn't get a ticket that way, and I can't justify spending over $1,000 to get into Autodesk University and just talk to people. It's just, I can't justify that. I just can't. So yeah, I'm not going this year by the looks of it. So it would have been a good chance to talk to people about it then. I'm probably not really timing this episode all that well because most people who would watch this will be at Autodesk University having a great old time instead of watching this. But we are where we are. Anyway, my voice is, I can feel it, like my throat's starting to like clench up and break up, so I'm going to have to call it a day. But we're at half an hour. Future shows should probably be longer than half an hour. That's the intent. I want them to be like about an hour. I can easily talk for an hour on a subject if I'm not like dying, but I am dying. But I'm back. I am back. We're back on the grind, mate. We are. Hopefully this is to stay. I don't know if it's going to be weekly, bi-weekly, not sure, but I'm back on the grind. Different background going on. I've got lots of guitar. There's probably been people like just wonder, why have you got so many guitar? Why have you got a background full of guitar? You're an engineer. Why haven't you got a background full of like CNC machines and like, I don't know, little manufactured widgets and woodworking tables and stuff? Well, yeah, I mean, lots of guitars that I can't play. I'm learning, but I can't. I can play a few chords, you know what I mean? But like, if you were to say, "Oh, play us a song," not happening. It's not. I can't play a song. I can play a couple of bars from like the intro to "Cigarettes and Alcohol" by Oasis, like dun 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 dun. I can do that, which isn't difficult. But beyond that, it's when I get to a bar chord, you know, I mean, that's when I struggle. But it's absolutely, honestly, it's embarrassing. The guitars that I've got that I can't play. I mean, that one there, that's a Taylor, which cost about the same as a small car. That's Noel Gallagher's Epiphone Riviera, the special edition, or the cloned Epiphone Riviera from the What's the Story Morning Glory days. That there's a Gibson Les Paul, which is, again, costs about the same as a small car. It's my dad's though, it's not mine. That there is that's an Epiphone acoustic, something Everly Brothers, that's the one. It's the Everly Brothers version. Lovely sounding guitar. Wish I could play it. And then I've got two more in the loft. I've got a Squier. Squier is absolute garbage. Even though I can't play, I know Squier is garbage. Yeah, I've got a Squier Telecaster and a Fender acoustic upstairs. I think that's enough. Like, stop buying guitars, Neil. You can't until you can play them at least. But we're learning. So yeah, that's the background. Why? I don't know. So yeah, thanks for watching if you're still here. And yeah, data loss and theft it's on my radar at the moment. Very interested to hear what other people are doing with it. Fortunately, I haven't had any instances of it, but always curious to hear from people that have. I know it's happened before in the past with lots of times with other companies. What went down? What happened? How did it happen? Any advice you could give based on your experience that you saw that in hindsight you would have done differently? Be curious to hear about that. But yeah, it's one of those topics where like you want to make sure you've got it covered, but you don't want to do so much or too much that you prevent the business from operating properly. You know, you don't want to lock things down too badly. But oh wow, my voice really is going now. I'm gonna have to stop. I really want to keep going, but I can't. I'm gonna have to stop. So that's the Unconstrained show, episode 1. Future episodes will hopefully be a bit more content packed and talkative. But just getting back in the guys, slowly getting back into the groove, mate. Thanks for watching. I should have an outro as well. Where's this going to be posted? Don't know. At the moment, just YouTube. With a few more episodes, maybe it might go on other platforms. But you know, to go on to Spotify, you know, to have a podcast on, you know, those platforms, I think there needs to be guests on it and stuff like that. And I've been approached by a few people. You should have so and so as a guest. You know, my brother was like, you should have guests and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not really an interviewer. Like, I'm used to being interviewed myself and talking myself. I've had 11 years as a creator, just doing my own thing, making content and stuff. Like, I'm not the type that asks the questions. Like, it's just not in me. As much as I could, it's just not my thing, right? So to have a guest on, it would be so alien to me to have to like think of things to ask them and stuff. And right, this channel's always just been about me, you know, like what I can offer and what I do. So I guess, I don't know, like maybe I have talked about in the past doing a show with Toby, actually, Too Tall Toby, who does the speed modeling competition. We had talks in the past about potentially doing our own like sort of joint podcast, but it didn't go anywhere. I think the logistics of it were a bit too difficult. He's in the States, time zones, lag on the microphones and stuff, and it would have been a bit much of a challenge, you know, to get that going. But yeah, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But that's half an hour of the first show. We'll read the comments down below. Thanks very much. If you are off to Autodesk University next week, enjoy it. San Diego. Oh, I wish I was going. Like, the last time they moved the venue to a new place other than Vegas, we know how that went. Maybe that's why they're not paying for my ticket this time. Like, we paid, because I think I did get a press pass when I went to New Orleans, and I don't think I brought it up at the time because it wasn't really relevant. But I can imagine somebody was like, we didn't pay. A press pass is not paying for me to go, but like, they gave me a free pass to get in there, and then look what happened. look what happened. I don't know. All right. thanks very much. I really am looking it up now. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode or the next video, whatever that is. Thanks for watching Unconstrained. My name is Neil Cross. This is Tech 3D, and I'll see you in the next one.